The Toronto Blue Jays exercised their demons with a 3-2 win over Luis Castillo and the Seattle Mariners in an electric Rogers Center on the night that Teoscar Hernandez returns to Toronto. So we'll break that down and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. Now, if any of you want to play a lottery ticket, I suggest you go ahead and let Nick know because he predicted a 3-2 ball game tonight, and that's exactly what we got. It was a pitcher's duel. Both starting pitchers struggled, but the bullpens locked it down, and the Jays ultimately prevailed. So it was a great game on a Friday night, and bodes well for not only the series but the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, I predicted the 3-2 win and the Alejandro Kirk home run, so I'm going to consider myself lucky. But like you said, very crucial game to win and definitely the hardest one of the series. We got it over with. But before we do get into the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're less than 200 subs away from 7,000, so it'd mean the world if you could do that. But yeah, let's just get into it. The Jays found a way to win today in a game which Alek Manoah struggled a good bit, which we'll get into a little bit, but they found a way to win. I'll pop up the box score in a second, but what did you see out of them tonight? It is a huge win for the Jays.
Yeah, now Alek Manoah did not look good at all. And even though he got through five, only giving 2 runs up, his stuff was just not there. He didn't have a clean inning all night. He needed 100 pitches to get through 5 innings with some help from his defense. And I want to give a huge shout out to the offense. Now, they only put up 3 runs today. But after that second inning that Alek Manoah went out there and got through with the bases loaded and a lucky double play with Ty France, the Blue Jays went out and made Luis Castillo throw 30 plus pitches in the next half inning. And that bodes well for the rest of the game because it allows Alek Manoah to catch his breath, gives him a breather, and he can go back out there and settle in. Now, he wasn't sharp today. His fastball was all over the place. His slider could not find it. His changeup was probably his best pitch, but he didn't even throw it that much. And it was just a rough night, but he found a way, and the Blue Jays found a way to win. So as inconsistent and as bad as Alek Manoah was tonight, I think you could say the same about Luis Castillo, and it was a huge W to get him out of there after 5 innings.
Yeah, I completely agree, and we'll touch on him more in a little bit, but like you said, the boys battled today. You can look at the box score here. George Springer went 1-for-4. Bichette hitless, Vladdy hitless, and that's kind of something we'll touch on is we won in a game with Bo Bichette and Vladdy going hitless, which is something that is pretty crazy. Matt Chapman stays on fire. We have Dalton Varsho going over 4 and Alejandro Kirk, who we'll touch on a little bit as well, had a very good game, and Brandon Belt went 0-4, and Witt had 2 hits. But I want to touch on Dalton Varsho for a second. Just quickly get your thoughts on his cold streak. Are you worried yet? Just get this very quickly out of the way because I know there's going to be some comments about it. Or do you think he's going to come around?
Well, it's an adjustment period, and we saw the same thing out of Matt Chapman last year when he came over from the Oakland A's, and it's even tougher for Dalton Varsho. This is a younger player. Matt Chapman's been top 10 in MVP voting before. He was an established star before he got here, and he even struggled out of the gate. He couldn't hit the high pitch. He was getting pitched differently than he was in Oakland, and I think that's the case for Dalton Varsho. I wouldn't say I'm worried, but maybe move him down in the order, get him some better pitches to hit. I wouldn't say Brandon Belt is exactly tearing the cover off the ball either, but maybe move him up to the 5 spot because he's been there, done that before. Dalton Varsho coming over from a new team, a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I think maybe just take a bit of the weight off because he started off well and then teams kind of figured out how to pitch to him. But I'd rather focus on some of the other guys. And we were kind of waiting for George Springer to break out and have that big hit because he had a couple of opportunities tonight. Then he finally found it and ended up driving in the winning run for the Toronto Blue Jays. And like you said, Matt Chapman staying hot. So they were not clicking on all cylinders offensively, but they hit when they needed to, and even with 2 outs in Matt Chapman's case.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm not worried about Varsho either. And like you said, Matt Chapman's been on fire, and it was a huge hit. And George Springer finally getting a clutch hit, and it's starting to even out. The Jays' unclutchness is starting to even out. But let's touch on Alek Manoah a little bit more now, and the rest of the pitching staff who were quite simply, the bullpen was brilliant tonight, absolutely brilliant, and helped back Manoah up to help him, secure. But here's what we're looking at. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 walks. Like you said, the command was not there at all. He did manage to get 7 strikeouts, and the big thing here is he got through 5 innings in a game which I believe he had 50 pitches over 1 1/3. So if he can battle and give us 5 innings and 2 runs against a pretty loaded Mariners team, albeit they're not hitting the bat well this year, they have a lot of talent, we'll take that every day.
Yeah, he found a way, and it was I saw this tweet. That was probably the worst 5 innings pitched, 2 earned run start I've ever seen, but it's probably true. But the results is what matters. It doesn't matter how you get there. He found a way, and I'm glad that the Jays let him go face Cal Raleigh
I agree.
because Cal Raleigh was killing him. He was 2 for 2 with a home run and an RBI single. He crushed him last year in the playoffs. He was the official owner of Alek Manoah up until that final at bat. He still hit it hard, but right to Vladdy, and I think that bodes well for the rest of the season. You let Alek Manoah get through these tough situations. Don't pull them prematurely. Let them work through it. Let them figure out how to pitch in these tough jams. And I think that was the right call from John Schneider. I was a big fan of that. And you let Tim Meza come in the game against a team that also torched him in the playoffs. So Jordan Romano as well. You let him come in, and obviously he's going to come in for the save. But all these things bode well for the rest of the season because you couldn't get it done last year. And I know it's only a regular season game, but you managed to find a way tonight, and that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, and by leaving Alek Manoah in, it gave Tim Meza a clean inning, which he tends to be, a bit better at, which, like you see here, not a hit allowed by the bullpen. 4 innings, eight
Hmm.
Ks, and we're not going to harp on it too long. So if you watched the game, it was absolutely brilliant. If you didn't watch the game, go watch some highlights because it was just unbelievable. Tim Meza, amazing. Jimmy Garcia looked very good. Eric Swanson did get his at-bat against Teoscar Hernandez and popped him out in the first pitch. So, and of course, Jordan Romano made light work of the 7-8-9 in the Mariners. But overall, unbelievable game from the bullpen. And a solid game from Alek Manoah, given what his command was looking like. So, very, very impressed with the bullpen. That's the key. And it was a very good revenge win. But let's touch on Alejandro Kirk. And Kirk is back. And I'll also show you a clip of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. running the bases. But I'll let you touch on Alejandro Kirk real quick. He, of course, hit his home run. And we, of course, have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. here, who I'll show you first. But what were your thoughts on this as well as Alejandro Kirk here as Vladdy just takes the helmet off to score on a huge hit by Matt Chapman?
Yeah, these are the little things that we're talking about because that's an RBI double with 2 outs. And if Vladdy doesn't push it home, you're relying on Dalton Varsho to go in there and drive him in, and he's been ice cold with the bat. I like him as a player. I think he'll figure it out, but right now you want Matt Chapman driving in those runs, and that's exactly what happened. 2 outs, Vladdy on first. That ball's hit hard. It's not easy to score over there, and Julio Rodriguez has a pretty good arm, and Vladdy was busting it right away as soon as he saw that ball hit into center field, and those are the things that we talk about, Nick. Those routine things that every ball club should be focusing on. Vladdy, maybe not the fastest guy, but he's a very smart base runner, and he managed to hustle around from first, and that was great to see. And Alejandro Kirk, when he's swinging the bat like he has been in the past couple of games, it just adds another element to this lineup that helps them become deeper and helps them reach their full potential because we know what he can do with the bat. He's so good when he's locked in and he's taking those borderline pitches. I was very impressed with him tonight.
Yeah, and I'll show you quickly one more time for like the third time here. And this was a huge hit in the context of the game as well. It got us back tied against Luis Castillo, who had yet to give up a home run. That was the first home runs he's given up this year. And coming into the game, Luis Castillo dominated hitters in general, especially right-handed hitters. And today, all the righties did very, very well. I think they hit something like 400 against them. So the Blue Jays are just on absolute fire right now. They can't be stopped. That's their fifth straight win. Of course, a few of them were against the White Sox, but this is a pretty good Mariners team despite their record, and they're able to get some revenge. So very good game out of Kirk, out of Chapman, out of everyone. And before we do wrap up, we introduce a new segment today, which is the players of the game. Almost misclicked there. Misclicked again. We're saying live. Players of the game. And Peter, I'll let you touch on this and give your players of the game for today. I think there's a couple of an obvious one here for sure.
Yeah, so let us know what you think of this kind of segment. We just want to add it in there at the end, add an extra couple minutes to the video for you guys. But we're going to have one for offense, defense, and a pitching one as well. So I think for offense and defense, it's pretty safe to say that Alejandro Kirk takes the cake for both of them just because he was 3 for 4 at the plate. He got them back in there with the home run, and he threw out Julio Rodriguez trying to steal second base. His arm's been a big talking point ever since Gabriel Moreno got traded, ever since the season started, but he's starting to round into form. He came into the team late in spring training with the birth of his child, so he's getting in there, he's getting comfortable, and that was an absolute missile of a throw and a very tough pitch from Alek Manoah. It was a slider low and away, and he managed to throw out one of the fastest guys in all of baseball.
Yeah, unbelievable throw. It literally hit Julio Rodriguez, and like you said, it was an away slider.
Yeah, that
But
was weird.
I agree. I think we're in agreement there. What a game for Alejandro Kirk. And I'll let you as well give the inaugural pitcher player of the game. And there's a few we could go with here. I'll have mine, you'll have yours, but you can go with yours here first.
I'm gonna go with Jimmy Garcia, and you could have easily given it to Eric
That's who I
Swanson
was
or
gonna go with,
even
so I'll just
Tim
throw that out
Mayza.
there. I was gonna
Yeah, I'll give it to Jimmy Garcia just because he carved up the 1, 2, 3 hitters, which are the most dangerous in that Seattle lineup. And I know Jared Kellenig's been swinging the bat very well. Julio Rodriguez is an MVP candidate. He's going to be for the next 10 years. And you got rid of him, Ty France, and Jared Kelenic, which is no small feat. And Jimmy Garcia's been struggling. He's been bitten by the home run balls so far earlier in the season. And he found a way today, just like the rest of the team did. His stuff was electric. His slider was absolutely filthy. And that sinker that he was throwing was just like a bowling ball. It's trying to hit a bowling ball the way he was throwing it tonight. And like I said, you could have given it to any of the four relievers, but he's the one that stood out to me.
Yeah, and quick shout out, honorable mention. We'll go to Eric Swanson for his continued dominance. But let us know your player of the games in the comment section below, and that'll wrap up this video. We will have a pregame stream for you tomorrow for the afternoon game, so we'll see you then.
Thanks.